Saladen then took over as quarterback, and the Elks won their last 4 games. All leaguers for 1971 were Ted Grimsrud, offensive and defensive end, Rod Childers, fullback, lineman Dan Larson, and Dave Baker at linebacker. This team averaged 30 points to 8 for their opponents. Following the 1971 football season, senior Rod Childers was killed in an automobile accident. His classmates, many of whom had started the first grade with Rod, decided to cancel the traditional class trip and donate their entire treasury to the memory of their friend and classmate, Rod Childers. Remembering the fun Rod had playing football, his class bought a trophy case and placed Rod's jerseys and helmet, along with pictures of him in the case. A large trophy in Rod's name will be awarded to the outstanding football player each year. Here is a picture of Phil Saladen viewing the trophy case. The remaining class funds were donated to start the Rod Childers Memorial Score Clock Fund. By the start of the 1972 season, the fund had reached its goal. The new score clock was dedicated at the first home game of the Elkton Elks. The 1972-73 football season turned out satisfying, but also disappointing. Getting off to a slow start, the Elks lost 3 games, Harrisburg, Walport, and Siletz, by a total of 8 points. They went undefeated in league play, but the 14-14 tie with North Douglas prevented them from advancing into the playoffs. North Douglas, who had an identical league record, had a better overall record and was voted in by the league representatives. The Elks ended their season at 5-3-1. The 1973 season turned out to be a heartbreaker. After a big first game 22-0 win over Harrisburg, half of the starting 11 came down with a mysterious virus, later believed to be encephalitis. Several players spent time in the hospital, and a far from healthy team lost their first league game 32-12 to the Glendale Pirates. The Elks finished the season with a 7-win, 2-loss record, losing also to St. Mary's. The high point of the season was the North Douglas game. Steve Swearingen blocked a Warrior punt in the 3rd quarter and recovered it in the end zone, which helped the Elks to their 12-6 victory over their rival. The 1974 Elks carried on the Elkton football tradition. The team was stubborn, quick, and hard-hitting. In the first game of the season, the Elks trounced the Harrisburg Eagles, a preseason favorite of the Trico League. As the Elks rolled on undefeated, it soon became evident that there would be a showdown with the also unbeaten North Douglas. But first, the Elks had to deal with the Big Fur League defending champion St. Mary's on their home turf. The Elks won 32-7 in Medford. People flocked to Elkton for the Elkton-North Douglas game, and before the largest crowd ever in Elkton, the Elks defeated arch-rival North Douglas 12-0. The Elks were now 9-0 going into the state playoffs, a first for 11-man football. The Chillicothe Panthers proved to be the Waterloo for the Elks, winning the game 34-6 on their home field. For the Elks, Steve Beckley, Doug Garrison, and Paul Zozo were the defensive standouts, helping to limit opponents to 8 points a game. In his career, Steve Beckley completed 50% of 604 passes for 4,206 yards. Paul Zozo caught 134 for 1,359 yards and was selected for the East-West Shrine Game. Football was now generating more interest and school spirit in the Elkton community. Homecoming became a traditional activity. A big homecoming game, there were dress-up days and a bonfire. The football team elected a king and queen, who were crowned at the halftime of the homecoming game. Students and returning alums attended a homecoming dance following the game. With only 4 returning starters and numerous injuries, the 1975 Elks managed only 1 win out of 9 games. In mid-season, before the injuries, they played their closest game, a 1-point loss to Glendale, 19-18. 76 Elks failed to win a game, going 0-9. Underclassmen provided the bulk of the team and proved to be no match for their opponents. Classification numbers had been adjusted, and the Elks found themselves playing schools with more students in one class than the Elks had in their entire school student body. This was the last year for 11-man football, as community sentiment favored competing at the 8-man level. The 1977 Elks adjusted rapidly and finished the 8-man season with 7 wins and 1 loss overall. Their 5-1 league record earned them a co-championship with Prospect and Paisley. The Elks then participated in a unique 3-team football game. Winning a coin toss enabled the Elks to watch Prospect beat Paisley 24-0 in the first half of the 3-way playoff game. In the second half battle between Prospect and the Elks, the Cougars took an early lead of 8-0 with their running game. The Elks went to the shotgun formation, and Tim Beckley hit Doug Madison in the end zone for a TD. A 2-point conversion tied the game. Prospect scored by running the ball, but failed to convert. The Elks, with their passing attack in gear, mixed in some running and marched to the Cougar 11. On the next play, the Cougars rushed the quarterback and managed to pick off a hurried pass. They then used their running game to run out the clock and preserve the 14-8 victory, enabling them to advance to the state playoffs as the Skyline 7 representative. This was the first time ever the Elks had played in this type of a football game. Once again, the Elks made the state playoffs in 1978, going 9-0 in regular season play. They improved as the season progressed and beat Paisley, their strongest league opponent, 48-8. In the state semifinals, the Elks met the Casco league champions, the McLaren Hawks. The Hawks, who outweighed the Elks by 30 pounds per man, proved to be a worthy opponent by defeating the Elks 48-0, thus ending Elkton's state championship hopes. Jody Smith of the Elks was selected to play in the Shrine game. The Elks managed a winning season in 1979 by recording 6 wins and 2 losses. They placed third in the Skyline 7 behind Prospect and Camas Valley. Mike Shepard earned all-league recognition as a running back. 15 players greeted Coach Saladen in 1980. After defeating Triangle Lake in the preseason 20-14, the Elks had troubles and managed only 2 more victories, ending the season with 3 wins and 5 losses. Bouncing back from a losing season, the 1981 Elks won the Skyline 7 League with a 7-1 record. Elkton and Prospect both advanced to the state playoffs under a new format. The Elks beat Triangle Lake in 4 overtimes, 34-28, to advance to the semifinals. The Arlington Honkers defeated the Elks handily 68-16, depriving Elkton from playing in the championship game. Picked to the all-league team were Sean Crago, Brian Gill, Sam Ross, Terry Fowert, and Greg Vanderyacht. In 1982, the Elks tallied a respectable 8-win, 3-loss record, which was good enough for a league 3-way tie for second place with Powers and Days Creek. However, the OSHAA officials selected the Powers Cruisers as the state second team representative from the Skyline 7. 8 seniors played their last year's ball for Elkton, with Greg Vanderyacht and Sam Ross making the all-league team. No team picture was available for 1983. This Elkton team suffered numerous injuries: a broken leg, dislocated shoulder, torn ligaments, and a broken finger, to name a few. It finished the season with an overall 4-win, 5-loss record and a 3-win, 2-loss league record. No team picture was available of this team either. The 1984 season seemed to be a repeat of 1983. Mike Beckley dislocated his shoulder in the second game of the season, and others suffered injuries as the Elks managed a .500 season with 4 wins and 4 losses. Scott Smart led the Elks with 54 defensive tackles and 246 offensive points. Mike Beckley was close with 244 offensive points. The 1985 Elks again ended the season with a 4-win, 4-loss overall record. Heading into his 35th year of coaching, Coach Saladen had hopes of a playoff bid, but the loss of 4 key players, Mike Beckley, Nick Helms, Scott Otto, and Chris Harbaugh, was more than the team could handle. The OSAA presented Coach Saladen with a special award commemorating his 35 years of coaching at Elkton and in Nebraska at a Big Red Riot before the homecoming game. The Elks managed to come through the 1986 season with few injuries. 18 players turned out, and the Elk team showed a lot of determination and pride as they recorded 5 wins, 3 losses overall, and a 4-2 league record. This was good enough for a 3rd place finish in the Skyline 7 League. People in the Elkton community in 1987, it was hard to imagine Elkton High School having a new head football coach on the sidelines. Coach Saladen had been there for 29 years, coaching in 6 different leagues: the BICO, the BICO-Trico, the Southwest, the Evergreen, and the Skyline 7. He retired as the county's winningest football coach, compiling a career record of 140 wins, 104 losses, and 4 ties. Saladen finished the season with an overall 5-3 record and 3rd place in the Skyline 7 League. It was only fitting that he left a winner. His winning rate, a modest 56%, included 6 first-place league finishes and 6 runner-up positions. He had 10 losing seasons, 5 straight coming at the beginning of his career, but no one ever questioned his dedication and rapport with the kids. The late John Beckley, who had 3 sons play football under Coach Saladen, said, "He's just a first-class man. He's done a terrific job with the football program. He's certainly one of the best coaches we have ever had and is a heck of a nice guy and good teacher." When asked about his football career, Coach Saladen replied, "The thing I've enjoyed most is the kids, the intensity with which they've tried to please me. They have worked really hard for me here, and I like that. I respect them a lot for that. I'd like to have all the kids out I could get. I've never had to cut anyone. We could use every boy we could get. That's good for the kids. They feel needed the most." On the sideline, he wasn't real vocal, although he was noted for emphasizing instructions with a gentle jab of his forefinger. His biggest supporter was his wife Julie, shown here on the right. She only missed 3 games in 29 years. At home games, she could be found following the action up and down the sidelines. "I could hear her all the time," said Coach Saladen, chuckling. "She was pretty loud, but in a positive way. She's really stood behind me in all things." His players in the community did not forget Coach Saladen. At the annual Elkton Alumni Basketball Tournament in 1995, the Elkton alumni made a presentation to Coach Saladen and his wife Julie.
Association wishes to continue to honor those who serve the students, school, and community at Elkton School District. This year, we wish to honor Dick and Julie Saladen for their many years of dedicated service and support to the Elkton School District. Program here at Elkton. At this time, we'd like to present you with the jackets. Do any of you have a special little story you'd like to tell? There's one right there up in the back.
Story is something I always wanted to be able to do.
Saladen for his 29 years of dedication to the Elkton School District, not only as a teacher and football coach, but as a builder of our young men, now old. Through his example of hard work, striving for excellence, and commitment to the program and community, he helped mold boys of the Elkton High School into young men ready to face the difficulties of adulthood and citizenship. Persevering through their years on the football team helped show these men how to accept pain, disappointment, loss, and humility, as well as the joy of success through a cooperative team effort. I'm quite sure that to Dick, the conquering of one's own fears and doubts and the development of one's own self-esteem was more valuable than the conquering of an opponent upon the field of play. To honor Dick for his dedicated service, to the Alumni Association would like him to accept this plaque and announce that a sign will be erected on the football field proclaiming it from this day forward as the Saladen Football Field.
Thank you very much.
We have had wonderful coaches and staff that have worked at Elkton High School, haven't we? And we still do. So let's give everybody a
On October 20th, 1995, at the halftime of the Powers game, the football field was dedicated in his honor, Saladen Field. Also on that day, the Elkton High football team defeated the Powers Cruisers, which were ranked second in the state in the 1A classification.
Don't you live here?
Hold them. You can hold them. Push them back, guys. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Somebody get it.
It's the bomb.
Get it. Oh, good. Good job. Your boy was drowned.
Good afternoon. Today we are making a special recognition in honor of Dick Saladen for his 29 years of dedication to Elkton School District. He served this district not only as a teacher and a football coach,
but as a builder of young men. Through his example of hard work, striving for excellence, and a commitment to the program and our community, he helped mold the boys of Elkton High School into young men ready to face the difficulties of adulthood. It's not memorized. And citizenship. Persevering through their years on a football team helped show these men how to accept pain, disappointment, loss, and humility, as well as the joy of success through cooperative team effort. He taught the young men that the conquering of one's own fears and doubts and the development of one's self-esteem was more valuable than conquering one's opponent on the field of play. To honor Dick Saladen for his dedicated service and caring that he gave to Elkton High School and our football program, it is my pleasure on behalf of the Elkton School District to proclaim that this football field from this day forward will be known as Saladen Field. Our congratulations go to Dick, and our thanks, not only from all of us that are here today, but from the players that had the privilege of calling him coach. It is also my pleasure, on behalf of the Elkton Alumni Association, to present to Elkton High School a sign naming this Saladen Field. We are proud that the name of Saladen will inspire young athletes who play on this field to a commitment of hard work, dedication, and excellence. On this field, our athletes will experience the joy of participating in a sport where teamwork, work, and sacrifice are essential in becoming a winner in the game and in life. Again, we, the community of Elkton, thank Dick